Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. And welcome back to the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. It is Friday, May 15th, 2026. And this show begins now. And of course, you're watching Daily Dive. It gets the people going, man. So, on today's awesome episode, we will first bring in Teddy Jenner. You will hear his voice all weekend and possibly next weekend if you're lucky, as the NLL Finals are going on tonight and Sunday. Cannot wait to talk to him about what he thinks might happen. Also, we will talk to Pat Gregoire, who has just landed, by the way. We'll talk to him. I believe he's fresh off of Estonia. My goodness, good for him. Did he bring gifts? We'll find out. Also, the betting things of the NLL Finals. And I will unveil Captain's bets. Now, he cannot come on today's show, but he has a very interesting take that I'll get to that I think you guys might want to hear. Let's just say it doesn't go 3 games, but it's not in the way you think. So I cannot wait for that. Of course, I'll choose my Finals MVP and my best bets for the weekend as well. Before we get started, listen, I am not sure at this point if there are any Halifax tickets left because there were like less than 100 last time we checked on our sites. But tonight, Hamilton, The Rock needs you. NATalkRadio.com. Click the event tickets tab. It takes you straight to Vivid Seats. And there you type in Toronto Rock and get your tickets. So we appreciate you. Just another way to support the program. Now, let's bring in a man. I believe this is his first time this season. That's my fault, not his. Teddy Jenner, one of the voices of the league. How are you, Mr. Sir?
I am wonderful. I'm excited. I don't think 7:30 can come early enough. But,
Right.
you know, we're 5+ months from the opening game of the schedule way back in November, and now we're set to crown a champion. Could go 2, probably goes 3, but it should be a heck of a lacrosse series, brother. Appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate you coming on. I hope it does go 3 for the record. And at this point, before we get into that, I don't even know if you guys have had an OTCB since Mackey won. So we're going to start calling you like Uncle Mackey or something over here. What was your take on that, man?
I was thrilled for her to get the nominee. I was thrilled for Ashley to get the nomination.
Yes.
Happy, you know, that Graham's getting his recognition.
Mm-hmm.
You know, our broadcasts across the league aren't what they are with out NLL stats. So I thought it was 3 very deserving winners. I thought all the winners across the league were great. And you know, the voters did a good job. But you know, I'm happy for Matt. She'll get her flowers in due time. I think Ashley is long overdue for getting an award, but one of these days, those 2 fine ladies will get their recognition.
I love it. It's clear that people love the game, and all 3 of those people definitely love the game. So, triple-edged sword there.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. No wrong winner in that debate.
Absolutely. Tonight in Hamilton, the Rock will host the Thunderbirds, as we mentioned, the NLL Finals. We're excited. A single game elimination for the Thunderbirds. They've pretty much poo-pooed that. That was like Captain said, they might have beaten Vancouver 2 out of 3. But based on what we've seen from these 2 teams, it feels like Toronto, even though it took 3 games, made light work of San Diego, and the San Diego give them hell. I think Halifax is the hotter team, right?
Yeah, just, you know, Halifax has been playing playoff lacrosse since they were 3 and 6 or whatever they were, you know, in the early stages of the season, and they really had to turn things on. They've had some I think they're 6 1-goal losses throughout the season. You know, they're not a true 8 seed in the sense of the word that they kind of snuck in. You know, they're a team that could have been, you know, top 2, top 3 kind of thing. So, yeah, are they the hotter team? Maybe. You know, Toronto, you said kind of felt like they were easy. You know, it was easy for them against San Diego. I don't think it was easy. Obviously, San Diego losing Chris O'Reilly was huge, and not having Danny Logan for most of that series was big. Toronto's had to fight. They didn't have a good game in game 2. Game 3, they were a completely different animal. They came out like gangbusters, and that transition game was nearly unstoppable. And if they have that in this series, I think it gives Halifax a lot of fits. But this Thunderbirds team is playing with a lot of passion, a lot of emotion, a lot of heart. And it's funny when you look back at the season for them, and again, we kind of talked about their slow start. Then they let go Stu Montour, which kind of shook everybody's head. Like, where did that come from? A lot of
Tyson Bell,
Micah Kersey. A lot of people thought, oh, maybe Micah Kersey's the first to go off that bench staff, but it was Montour, and Micah Kersey kind of takes over full advantage of the front door. But you're right. Then they trade away Dawson Peete, they trade away Tyson Bell. And this team just kind of took a different persona. They still play, a high-tempo game. They still play a physical, in-your-face defense. But it's the discipline and the extras that aren't there anymore. You're not seeing this team kind of lose control of themselves. And that's paid huge dividends, most notably for a guy like Jason Knox, who could, if he keeps up the streak or the way he's been playing, if this goes 3 games, could set the single postseason record for goals in a postseason. So, the moving on from Dawson Peete has allowed Jason Knox to step up, and moving on from Tyson Bell has allowed for some of these other defenders to kind of play bigger roles. And it's really helped Halifax kind of just become who they are. They're a team of destiny right now. And a lot of people thought that they'd be at the top of the standings, and then they kind of faltered. And then a lot of people saw them as an easy out in the first round for Vancouver, and that didn't happen. So they're playing a very inspired lacrosse. And the big thing about Halifax is they're tiring teams out. That's what happened in that second half of that Vancouver game. They just kept on getting multiple possessions and multiple resets. And this kind of blew my mind away when I was looking at just some research for the game. If you go to, you look at touches, and for the offensive guys, I think Mark Matthews leads Toronto with like 200 and something, 220, 230, something like that. He's their leader. There are 4 guys on the Halifax team that have like over 240 touches.
Woo.
I think Clark Peterson has like 300 touches. Like, this is a team that is constantly with possession of the ball. They play a very possession-focused game. And if Toronto wants to win this series, they're going to have to limit touches for this Halifax team. They're going to have to use their transition game. So it's going to be interesting to watch this whole series play out. I think it's going to be a fantastic one. I know you teased captain's picks a little later. I don't know what they are, but I'll say this. If Halifax can win game 1, I think it's very hard for Toronto to win game 2 in Halifax. Even though Toronto hasn't lost back-to-back games all year, going into the nest down 1 is going to be a very tough ask. So I think the big onus is on Toronto to win game 1 here tonight.
Great research on the touches. I want to touch right on that first. That's right. So that's just playoffs, right?
Yeah, that's just playoffs.
Chris
Boucher, Mark Matthews leads Toronto with 186 touches over 4 games. Clark Peterson leads Halifax in 4 games with 374 touches.
So I know that me and Captain want like an offensive loose ball, as a lot of people do, but that's got to be semi-close to that, if that's because that's extremely valuable information.
Yeah, and you just go back and watch like the second half of the game 3 against Georgia. They kind of did the same thing. They were, every shot was a contested loose ball, but they were coming away with it. And that leads to another 30-second shot clock. And then they would do it again. And so not only are you keeping your offense out there and getting changes, you're keeping the defense out and keeping them tired. So they just wear teams down. And the hard work ethic that this Halifax team is playing with right now, that's going to be something Toronto's going to have to match. Because, as athletic and physical and good as this Toronto defense is, when you're playing 90-second, minute 20 shifts, that takes a toll. And as the game goes on, as the series goes on, it can pay dividends for teams. So that's going to be something I'll be keeping an eye on this entire series, is just, multiple resets and defensive zone times for some of these guys.
On my most likely to win finals MVP if Toronto won, I know that Boucher and Mark Matthews and CJ Kersing and even Challen Rogers exist, but I've said that Nick Rose, because Halifax is going to get their repos, it's just a matter of how much they get. But if that is happening, they disposed of Halifax disposed of Del Bianco and Dobson. So I'm like, if the Rock find a way to win, Rose has to have a bunch of saves, it feels like. And that's kind of where I was headed, which the touches thing makes me happy for the
Record. And, you know, I think Nick Rose is one of the feel-good stories of the year in lacrosse. You know, they moved on from him last year, traded him to Calgary, let him go on a bit of a run, and obviously they've recouped the benefits of that trade, did the Rock. But, you know, I remember when, you know, they bring him back and then he gets hurt halfway through the year and then he gets activated again. I remember putting the post out saying that, you know, Dan Craig and Nick Rose are back, and there was a couple Rock fans sliding into the timeline saying Nick Rose is a downgrade. He's not an upgrade. Like he's not as good. Why are we going? Why are we praising him being back? Troy Holochuk's our guy. And just look what Nick Rose has done. You know, this is the furthest he's gotten since 2011 in his career. And even in 2011, he only played like 24, 25 minutes in that game as relief to Brandon Miller. So, you know, this is his first true test at an NLL Finals. He's been playing phenomenal. And the one good thing about Rosie is that his ball possession and his rebound control is one of his strengths. He doesn't give up a lot of rebounds. He's making the save, he's picking it up, and he's firing it up the floor in transition. So, you know, Halifax has to do a good job of shooting smart. They can't just hit him in the belly. They got to, you know, off the shoulders, off the legs to create those rebounds and those multiple possessions. Yeah, just, you know, the reset shots, not just floating him at his belly. Because if you hit him in the stick or you hit him in the chest pad, you know, Latrell Harris and Shallon and English and Billy and Gasher, like these guys are all up the floor running. So Halifax has to shoot smart. They have to shoot wisely, but they also have to make sure they're getting back. So Rosie's been phenomenal. I've loved his play, and you know, I don't have a favorite. I have a lot of guys that I'm cheering for on both sides, but I don't think you can't not be happy for a guy like Rosie if he comes through with this one and wins. And I agree. If they do pull this off, he's going to have to be their best player.
So I just want to touch on his attitude real quick. Guys have good attitudes. Like talking about sportsmanship awards, if the media can choose that, which we do in a way. I think he is one of the guys where it's like, no matter what he goes through, whether I don't know what he's doing behind closed doors, but he always seems to be positive and never really leaning into, because you know he hears it. You know he does. That's what makes him sweeter.
Yeah, you know, Rosie's on social. He sees all the comments and the haters, and he uses it, right? Like he'll that's fuel for the fire for a guy like him. And you know, we even talked with Jamie Dowick after Game 3, and multiple people said we're so happy for Rosie. We're happy the way he's playing. We're happy for him that he's getting this opportunity, and we're happy that he's getting this chance to shut up all the haters, because you know he's playing some of his best lacrosse of his career right now, and his numbers keep getting better each and every game. So it's going to be a heck of a battle. But, you know, at the other end of the floor, Warren Hill's been doing the exact same thing. He's been phenomenal for the Halifax Thunderbirds, and a key reason why they're here too. So I think they have a phenomenal goalie duel. Our good friend Adam Levy had a great article on the two goaltenders on Inside Lacrosse. So I'm excited. There's not really an uneven matchup across the board in this series. You could maybe look at the face-off dot and say, you know, Withers will probably get the better of Rowlett, probably. But look what Rowlett did against Trevor Baptiste, right? And a lot of that has to do with ball team. And Rowlett's going to, you know, Jake Withers is one of the best at clean exits and pinching and popping and put into a guy. So Rowlett's going to have a big task ahead of him. But it's not just the face-off guys. It's the other four guys on the floor as the ball team that are going to have to work hard to get that possession. So, you know, so evenly matched across the board between these two teams. You know, everyone will remember the game they played in overtime earlier in the season with Dowick scoring the game winner in OT. So, you know, that was as evenly played as you could get a lacrosse game. And I think that's kind of what we get this whole series.
I hope so. I want to touch on Clark Peterson.
Sure.
I'm not telling you to tell your MVP ballots, and I'm sure you didn't have this guy on there. But I had Clark Peterson in my top 5 because I'm looking at like kind of like a Jeff Teat thing. You're looking at the points on his team. It's like, my God, if this guy wasn't there this year, where would this offense be? And sometimes it might not have any goals. It's just being involved with the assists. How important is Clark Peterson to the Birds with or without a Randy Stotts healthy?
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing there, Mike, is that, you know, without Randy and without Thomas Hogarth, this team, you know, wasn't who they normally are. And it took a hell of a performance all year long from Clark Peterson, you know, to put the team on his back and and to do, to carry the heavy lifting and do the work. And he's embraced that role. And, getting Randy back in game 3 was big. I didn't think he had the legs that he normally does, and that's to be expected after being out for so long, but his stick skills were there. Like, that's never going to leave. So he's still going to be a valuable asset on the floor, but he's still not 100% in my opinion. He doesn't look it, and just kind of watching him even in shoot around. Yeah, he's a little labored. He's kind of just kind of getting around the floor. But the stick skills that he had just allowed it to be effective. But you still need Clark kind of banging and grinding and playing, with a ton of grit and a ton of passion. And I'm so happy for him to see the success that he's having. And I just saw the question come up: is he going to play? I would expect him to play.
It might not be much if he's laboring.
Yeah, but again, you can use him wisely. You may not be, running him out as much in the second and fourth quarter just because of the long runs.
Right.
You might kind of want to save his legs a bit because, you don't really want him backtracking on defense in transition. So they'll try to use him wisely. But I don't – if Randy's able to play, you play him.
Right.
And you kind of take it game by game. If he kind of gets banged up in game 1, then you reassess for game 2. But luckily there's a day off. So I don't see there's any way that Randy Stotts isn't playing this game unless there's a major setback after morning shootout, which I didn't see one because he was out there this morning.
I want to get to this, Colin, because it talks about game 3. It talks about Rosie with a standing O. I want to get to CJ Kirst, though, because the third quarter, I would say for 43 minutes, the Seals were right there, and it was like we were getting this. Maybe the Seals in a close game, we could get one of those things. And CJ Kirst with the backbreaker of all backbreakers, it only extended the lead to like 2, but you've called a few of his games this year, man. How the heck? This is not normal. And I've said it before, if he wins Finals MVP as a rookie, it's not going to be shocking at this point. How awesome has he been to see?
I think when the year started, I wasn't 100% convinced at how well he would do. I'd seen him play for Mimico in the summer a couple years ago. But again, the NLL is a bigger jump. He's coming off a PLL year and an NCAA championship and all this stuff. And you're like, he's good. I know he's good. But to have the impact from day one and to do it all year long at a high level and, to be second in rookie loose balls and cause top 3 and cause turnovers and to lead the rookies in points, like that was just a phenomenal year. And we talked to him a couple weeks ago before one of the games, and he mentioned 21 plays.
Yeah.
And that's just a term that they used at Cornell. It's after a player that died. His name escapes me right now. But he wore number 21. And so what they are is they're just hustle plays. Basically the lines, the plays you make between the restraining lines, those are the plays that make difference in lacrosse games. And that play that you're talking about, Mike, was just that. There was a loose ball around the restraining line. He fought off 2 defenders, found it, somehow kept it in his stick, and then, 2 yards beyond the restraining line, fires a shot that beats Dunkerley 5-hole. Like, that's a back-breaking goal, but that's just a hustle play. And that's what I see from Hiltz and from like all these rookies that have played for Toronto. Those hustle plays make such a big deal. Like, we talk about juice goals after faceoffs and from defenders, but those hustle plays are juice goals. And when you're seeing a rookie doing it and leading the way, it's infectious to follow. So I think CJ Kirst has been an absolute gem. I think he's going to be a star in our league for years to come. And I think it's only going to open the door for more Americans to realize that they can truly have success if they put the work in and they just don't come in expecting to dominate. Because, Kirst was very humble coming in, and he's been able to learn from Mark Matthews and Dan Dawson and Challen Rogers, but also absorb, some of the things from a Hiltz or Isaiah Moran Weeks, just talking and learning. And the one thing that's really helped him, and he said it, is having Hugh Kelleher, his Cornell roommate, is his traveling buddy. So now they have each other to kind of lean on and talk about things that they're going through. And it's just been such a boon for him to have that. And it's just been incredible to watch. I think he's going to have to find a way to just rise up and find another gear, because there was at times in that playoff series that San Diego did kind of find ways to neutralize him. And
Game 2,
in game 2, and Halifax is going to have to find a way to do that too. They're going to have to find the right matchups. But Kirst is very adaptable, and Dan Dawson's offense will work with him to get him open. And it's going to be a challenge, but I think that's the best part about these finals is the chess match between the teams and to see who wins at the end of the day.
One more talking point. But first, you said Americans just like put in the work. You said, well, just making sure. Now, and also like just a quick point on that. Every top draft pick is talented, but like you said, when you simultaneously do the dirty work, your talent can show quicker because now you're getting more opportunities because the coaching staff sees it. You get to showcase your talents. And if you're playing the right way, like there's no way that those two don't work together. So I love that for him setting the example on that too.
Yeah, and that's like I said, those are the infectious plays.
Yes.
And when you see, it doesn't matter if you're a first-year guy or you're Billy Hostrauser in your 11th, 12th year, you make those hustle plays and those infectious plays, and it's easy for guys to follow.
Chris Boucher, I talk about Clark Peterson's underrated season. Mm-hmm. The guy leading the veterans, not named rookies on goals, was Boucher, and now leading them in goals this playoffs is Boucher. How important is he if he is the righty that gets going for the lefties? And what have you seen from Boucher? And then we'll let you go.
Yeah, Boucher's found another gear, and I love it. We have this running thing that whenever I see him, I ask him where he's going to be shooting this game, and we just kind of joke around, and he picks a spot, and I pick a spot, and then we see who's right at the end of the day. But, he's found a fire, and I love that about him. There was a point in Game 3 late where Toronto was going on a power play, I think, and he wanted to be out there. And in the previous whistle, he had kind of gotten into a bit of a scuffle with a couple of the San Diego players, and you could see that he was heated. And Matt Sawyer wanted to make sure that he wasn't going to take an undisciplined penalty, so he pulls him off the floor. And you could see he wanted to be out there, but that's just the passion and fire that Bush is playing with right now. And when he's fired up, he's playing on the edge. He's playing with that aggression. That's good for him. And that's good for the Toronto Rock because they don't need passers. They don't need guys kind of just sitting on the outside. They need Chris Boucher to, go pick up a loose ball in the corner, bump off a couple guys, get underneath, dive across, crash into a couple people and score a big goal. Like those are goals that Chris Boucher is going to score. And those are the types of goals that bring the energy for the club. So he's found another gear, just like Clark has found another gear, just like Jason Knox has found another gear. Like guys step up because they know every game there's one less game to get the job done. And now we're at a point where there's 3 games left in the season, maybe 2. There's no time to leave anything in the tank. You just got to go for it.
That's where legacies are made. Any parting shots, Teddy? And as we let you go here.
Yeah, I'm hoping the Hamilton crowd turns out tonight. I think it should be a fairly packed barn here in Hammer. I know, as you mentioned, that it's going to be absolutely wild in the nest. I don't think there's too many tickets left, but sit back, relax, enjoy it. It's going to be a hell of a series. I'm saying this thing goes 3 unless something crazy happens. But for me, the keys are Toronto's transition game is going to be the benefactor for them if they're going to win the series. And conversely, if Halifax can stop that reverse transition, get off the floor, get their D out, play smart in reverse transition, that's going to go a long way. I think we see a lot of Casey Wilson backtracking 2 ways, Clark going back both ways, just to allow them to slow down the Toronto Rock transition game. Because if that's going and Sam English is running, we didn't even really mention Sam English, but if he plays the way he did in Game 3 and in Game 1, if Rosie's dropping 2-3 assists a game, it could be a long series for the Halifax Thunderbirds. But I'm looking forward to it. Pat Ashley, myself will be on the call for all 3 games, and we hope we'll call a great series for everybody to enjoy.
Have fun, Teddy. Stay safe.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you. Stay safe down there.
Woo! Teddy Jenner's on the call. Uncle Mackey's ready to go. So silly. All right. Thank you to Teddy for coming on. That was awesome. He is in Hamilton. Cannot wait. All righty. It's now time to bring in Pat Gregoire to help us talk more about the games and also perhaps make a little bit of money and yank it from the polar bear's pockets and bare hands. Bear? Okay. We'll be right back to Dilly Dive. Don't go anywhere. I know you won't.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to Dilly Dive, the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. It is Friday, May 15th, 2026. So check this out. I know that you guys want to go to the game. You can also support your favorite team and players by going to natalkradio.us/NLL. In case you're new to the show, it is only United States residents that can help us out here. But if you're in Canada, you click that link and just shop other places. You can shop on Amazon, but U.S. residents get that. It's unfortunate. I'm sorry about the tariffs. I really am. Oh my God. Whew. Now let's bring in a man who is calling the games this weekend. I had to bring up the avatar here. But Pat Gregoire is alive and driving. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, everyone. Don't worry. Hands-free device. I'm driving to Hamilton. I'm about 13 minutes away from the hotel, so made it safe and sound from Tallinn, Estonia, and I am absolutely thrilled to get this thing going soon, Mike.
You better be. So I'm glad, so is that your car or is it a rental?
It is my car. I'm driving my own car.
Love it. Look at you. Gas money, gas money. All right, so I'm actually happy we got to bring it back. Pixar Pat. I'm actually happy. All right, so I don't know. I'm sure you heard Teddy's segment. Did you or no?
Yes. Yeah, oh yeah, I was listening.
He's the man. All right, so couple of things here. First of all, what is your overall take on this series? I know you told me before it felt like a coin flip. Are you still leaning that way? And what are you expecting for game one tonight?
Yeah, I really feel like this is an incredibly close series. History show between these two teams. We've had some absolute doozies. These teams have met in the playoffs before. Both teams have some veteran experience. They've also got young players as well looking to make their mark in the postseason and win their first title. So, and two goalies that I think have a lot to prove as well. I do agree with Teddy. I think it comes down to two things. One, the game one in between the lines, the transition game. And it's not, can Halifax slow down that transition? I think it's also, is Toronto able to take away Halifax's transition? That's something that we've seen this year as well. So I think the team that plays better in transition, also parlayed with whatever goalie between Hill and Rose, that can be the difference. And in terms of what I expect for game one, I expect two teams that are probably gonna, might be two teams trying to feel each other out to start, but I think we're on a collision course for a 3-game classic, an all-Canadian showdown that everyone should be excited to watch.
Yeah, you those bastard Canadians. Oh, the Canadians, shut up. All right, I'm kidding. So I don't know if you've heard this yet, but Randy Stott's out, Stephen Keogh in. I'm just saying I just got that information. I saw it was questionable earlier, but I'm pretty sure that just came down the pipeline. So just for people to know, that's a little bit different. So I said the bet of the season was the Toronto Rock money line against the Seals, Game 3. I love that. Now, you said feeling out in Game 1. I also agree with that. If we're the first half under, regardless of what that is, I believe, feels a guarantee as well, right?
Well, it was supposed to be games for game. What was it? Game 2 and Game 3 for Georgia. We all saw how that panned out and crashed and burned. It dealt well in favor in our Toronto-San Diego games, though. I thought that was in Game 3 kind of played out well. But I do agree that would be the number that I would be looking at, just with both goalies. Just, again, in these big magnitude games, you rarely see blazing, trying to go all for nothing, right? It's like, okay, but it's a little give and take. What's the team doing? Okay, I like the first half under. I do think we get some big time offensive performances throughout this playoff series, which I think this finals goes early on. I think it's going to be the defenses and the goalies that probably get the better hand to start.
In a game that ended 14-13 on March 13th, Toronto led 6-5. And if that's regular season, usually those first half totals are like a 10 or something like that. So, yeah, I'll take the under on that.
Yeah, I don't know if the line has been posted again. Folks, I landed, the carousel, got my car from Park and Fly, and I've headed to Hamilton. You're on your note against about heard anything. I mean, if that's the case, obviously a little bit of a loss, but we know Stephen Keogh is a big time player as well. But I do know that you can go to Coolbet right now. Series prices are live. Series player props are live, and even the player props live for game number 1.
Love it. I'm gonna tell you a couple of that I like here. Obviously, everyone knows I like Halifax to win the series. Well, people have been asking me. I just get like 25 DMs a day. This is a lie. About like, oh, Mike, what do you think about the series price? I like Halifax to win the series, obviously at plus 128 via the Polar Bears. But I think we're going to go to Game 3. I think over 2.5 is where I'm going with that. I also think tonight Toronto does win.
Okay, well, Mike, that's kind of the way that I'm leaning as well. I think Toronto gets the job done here tonight. Finding out that Randy Stotts is out, a little bit of a blow offensively, just considering how good they looked in Game 3. But they've also won other big game lineup. So I tend to agree with that. I think this goes 3. So I like the over 2.5 games in the series to put my vote of confidence behind what team wins here, because I do truly believe. But if you're looking at value and you think this thing goes 3, you got to think that then Halifax getting plus money is a pretty good bet. But teams could win. I think it probably goes 3. But if you told me Toronto sweeps in 2, I wouldn't be surprised. If you told me Halifax sweeps in 2, I wouldn't be surprised. Teams have shown capabilities. They're playing at their best. They're really tough teams to stop.
Have we got the finals MVP odds from Coolbet?
We do not. We do not.
Do you think that'll come, or you don't think that'll happen for us?
I don't know. I can't really confidently say yes or no. Perhaps maybe after one, we might be able to update, or if it's going into Game 3, that's something that could be had. But again, I'm biased right now.
All right, so I got a few player props for you as well. I want to get your thoughts on these. Via the Devils at Bet365. CJ Kirst over 1.5 goals at plus 110. I considered Bushi, but that was at minus 105. So I'll go Kirst because I feel like in a game that could be like, I think home helps me here. And I think that in a game where it's like a lot of like hard feeling out play could happen, I could picture him getting some crazy goals he's not supposed to push us over there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know me. How many times I don't have the numbers if I come on this program and said, Mike, give me over CJ Kirst points or give me over CJ Kirst goals. I'm never going, go against that. And it's not an official play for me, but I certainly would be riding with. I think the only thing I'd be weary about covering CJ Kirst tonight is it Jake Withers. Is it Ryan Tarasenko? Like I think that is a possibility, but half goals we saw he can make a lot out of nothing in certain aspects. You mentioned Bushi, that's where I would go, and I do believe for his 1.5, I like that his points.
Yeah, that's minus 106 on Cool Bet, so I like that.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with that one. Obviously, I think Teddy did a really nice job laying out about how well he's been playing and the fire and the passion. Yeah. This is his former team in the Halifax Thunderbirds. He is a guy that has a lot of friends on this team, but I think when push comes are put aside, and what he wants to do is win an NLL title for his team and for a team that he grew up to. For me personally, I just feel like that this could be a big-time Bushi game, and you talked about it. Why would we be surprised if he did? He's been doing a stretch here in the playoffs. Like, he has been the one out of all the righties that has consistently put up good numbers. So I think we see it again.
How close were you to your hotel, by the way?
According to Google Maps, it says, I'm literally looking at the arena right now. So 2 minutes, but I think there might be some traffic down here in down Hamilton. I might be turning right into, because it should be no problem at all. I should be pulling into the hotel right now. So, but
heck yeah, get your Wi-Fi back. Oh, you're kidding. So I want to throw this at you as well, Clark Peterson. And I know I told people that I think like this one could be like a slugfest early. 5.5 points based on what he does for them. I'm not mad at that one either. I feel like that's a tiny bit. I feel like it could have been like a 6.5 or 6. I like 5.5 over for Clark Peterson.
Well, Mike, I think what the sportsbook and the Polar Bears are thinking is that it's going to be a little bit of a lower scoring game, because when was the last time we saw Clark Peterson half points for a game at all for his player props? It's usually 6.5. We've even seen some 7s thrown out there.
Agreed.
For me, it's like I see where the sportsbook headed, because I do think this game one is going to be a lower scoring game. Halifax walks away with 7-8 goals. I do truly believe that that he's going to be involved in almost every single one of them. How does he not get 6 points out of 7 or 8 or 9 goals? So I like that play a lot as well, Mike.
If they hit 10 goals, I think we're feasting on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could say, well, what about the transition game, Powell, Mike? Like, what about that? Well, let's not forget transition goals. Forwards coming off the bench with the defense pushing the ball up in transition. So even if they are those transition goals in that second, I guess it would be first and for third quarter, depending on bench siding. Clark Peterson's going to be the first guy off the bench, pushing, trying to get the situation.
I love it. I love that you're using turn signals too. You're just a very safe man. We appreciate you. Don't think that didn't pass us by here. All right. I also want to get to my finals MVPs, and also I want to focus on Halifax as well in a minute here. But if Toronto wins, I know I said most likely. My pick for Finals MVP for Toronto would be Nick Rose. Do you agree with that? That he's going to have to, even if Halifax doesn't get a lot of repos, he's going to have to stop a little bit more than Warren Hill does. If this is a parking garage, I'm going to be sick to my stomach. That's what I feel, folks. That's what I feel. We're going to see if Pat chimes back in here. Again, folks, I think Nick Rose. I feel like
this year. That is a case where
That's wild.
Like.
Oh no.
Like, this is his time. This is where he needs to step up.
I'm wondering when he said that. Just he left. All right, folks. What we're going to do is we're going to take a commercial break, and we're going to let Pat Gregoire walk inside or get a little bit more Wi-Fi there. So we appreciate you tuning in. Again, it's NLL Finals Game 1 tonight. Stay tuned. Captain's got a crazy thing that he wants to let people know. We'll be right back, folks. And Pat should be back on the other side. You're watching Dilly Dive.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening. You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to Dilly Dive. Hacker Gorse. I lost service. We're going to stand by on that. I told you guys earlier a couple of bets that I've been rolling with here. We're just giving the people to lean on. Chris Boucher, over 1.5 goals in game 1. I'll still ride with CJ Kirst with the plus money if you do want the Bet365 stuff there. I think over 2.5 games at Coolbet at plus 108. Halifax to win the series at plus 128. Rock to win game 1 at minus 154. First half under for game 1. Don't know what that is, but I'll take it regardless. So just a couple of things I like here. Another thing, I told you guys Nick Rose Finals MVP. if Toronto wins. I'm going to roll with... I keep switching back and forth. I know Clark Pearson will get the points. I'm going to go Jason Knox. I think he's got a hot stick. I think Jason Knox is my finals MVP pick for Halifax. It just seems on brand for me. Like, Randy Stotts being out game one is obviously massive for that. But I do like Jason Knox or Clark Pearson. I don't think it's going to be Warren Hill, for the record. But one of those two, and I'll go with the hot stick and Jason Knox, and I think he'll score goals. And if he's scoring goals, I do think the Thunderbirds are winning the series. But I can see a scenario where CP24 is stockpiling the points. So, again, still waiting to see if Pat Gregoire is going to hop back on. I'm sure he's near or at the hotel as we speak. I will go and unveil some captain picks. This is crazy. So for game one, he does like Halifax plus 1.5 goals just for game one. We also know that he has picked the Rock to win the finals. However, there is a flaming hot take by one captain that I think is very interesting, because if the way this goes like this, then Coolbet has got some money if Captain's got some friends in Canada, should I say. So he believes Toronto is going to sweep, and that's at plus 200. However, he says if Halifax wins tonight, they're going to finish things off on Saturday, and that's at plus 345. So this is crazy. You kind of have to wait for game one. But I feel like if you put money on, if you agree, like I do, that Captain has got some, like he knows what he's talking about with the NLL in terms of betting, I would throw shekels on both of those. If I'm you and I'm in a Canada province able to make that happen. Again, he thinks Toronto will sweep, but he also says if the Thunderbirds win game one, he thinks the Birds sweep. And again, that ups your value to plus 345. That's crazy, but I love it. I love the chaos. So yeah, we're going to take another commercial break and see if Pat does come on. And if he does not, I'll just wrap it up next with some final thoughts and just what I think will happen. But again, thanks for watching Daily Dive. Don't go anywhere. I know you won't. NLL Finals starting soon.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening. You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
if you stuck around, Pat Gregoire said we'll be back on very soon. So we are standing by here again. If you want to go to this game tonight or Sunday, or dare I say next week, you got to go here right now. Head over to natalkradio.com. Click the event tickets tab. It takes you straight to Vivid Seats, and there you will type in Toronto Rock or Halifax Thunderbirds or National Lacrosse League, whatever. You got to go and experience history. I cannot wait, man. I will be locked in tonight at 7:30. I'll be locked in Sunday, and I hope for content and drama's sake that we get a Game 3. That would be freaking awesome. I also want to mention this. What Teddy Jenner said about the touches stat that Graham Perro has not added to the NLLstats.com, but is available actually on the champion data, I believe. That's like where the stats keepers, like where we get our tenants and stuff from first. But I think hearing that Mark Matthews had like 186 for the playoffs, and everyone else in Halifax had like 3 or 4 guys had more than that, it just shows you the offensive resets or the repos, like I've been calling them. It's unbelievable. And game 1, the single game elimination against Vancouver, we saw it. Against Georgia, they picked apart Dobson in 2 of the 3 games. Like, those 2 games that Halifax won were not close at all. Like, Georgia could do nothing but throw hands and throw fists, baby. Speaking of throwing fists, I do wonder, hey, Pat Gregoire, were you a fighter when you played lacrosse? And be sure to unmute yourself. Hey, he's back! Forget muting. Kick off the guy. How are you, sir?
Doing good, Mike. Doing good. Sorry, lost connection there. I was right. There was like a fire truck and a couple of ambulance. I don't know what was going on. Hopefully everything was okay. But yeah, it was a little bit of a crazy scene outside of the Sheraton Hotel and of course TD Coliseum, which is right attached. So I'm just finished parking my car. I'm gonna go up, check into my hotel, maybe find Teddy for some lunch, and then take a long nap before the game.
He's doing that too, by the way. Is Big Doc there already?
The big dog is not here yet. At least I don't believe so. But she will. She'll be here a little bit later, and then we're all headed to Halifax. I think we're all on different flights. Funny enough, I don't think any of us are going. Yeah, I don't think any of us are going out at the same time. But some are flying out of Hamilton. Some of us are flying out of Toronto. I think a big reason of that too is probably Toronto and Halifax were booking the same flights too.
So one of y'all's gonna get the birds, one of y'all's gonna get the rock.
pretty much. I think that's what's gonna happen.
I can't wait. Again, we did hear that Randy Stotts is out, Stephen Keogh's in. They were questionable, and it's frustrating for Randy Stotts. Like, that's a big blow, both for the Birds and for him. I know that dude. Like, when he's playing, talk about a fiery guy. He's like their Chris Boshi, man. Come on.
Yeah, that is a tough blow. But like I said, Stephen Keogh's played well. In his absence. They've won big playoff games without him. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they would love to have Randy Stotts available. I'm assuming that him playing that game, he probably wasn't quite 100%. I'm hoping it's not, it was so bad where he set himself back for the rest of the year. I'm hoping maybe it's like, okay, we'll play game 1, and then we see him play in game 2 on Sunday. That's what I'm hoping for. Just let's be honest, we want all the best players to be able to play in this series, and Randy Stotts is one of them.
Agreed. But the questionable tag helps us with that, with the future, with the long-term thing, right?
Absolutely.
It was questionable to start the day, and it got downgraded to out is not the worst thing.
No, absolutely. You're 100% right.
I love say thank you. They do like some point thing on Lacrosse Classified when a guy gets like a good question, so that good point. It helps me. Okay.
Ding.
Right. We got to get to the Nick Rose Finals MVP if the Rock win. I said it was most likely, but I think if the Rock win, even if they're limiting the Birds repos, he's got to be locked in.
Yeah, the only way I think it's not Nick Rose is if they win and this is like some sort of offensive showdown where in 2 or 3 games we're seeing these teams put up 14, 15 points a night or goals a night, and a guy like Mark Matthews goes off, or CJ Kurse, or maybe even a two-way threat like Sam English goes crazy.
Right.
But in all likelihood, the formula, the storyline, any way you slice it, getting over the hump, I think it's got to be Nick Rose.
Who votes for Finals MVP, by the way? That's what I was curious about.
I believe it's the NLLPA who votes on it. Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I believe so.
I like that. So another thing, I just picked Jason Knox to win my Finals MVP. I'm riding the Knox wave, okay?
It's a good wave to ride.
My thing is just like with Nick Rose, it's like, well, Mark Riley's points. Well, for Knox, it's like, well, CP24 gonna be creeping up with the points as well. That's my only issue. But I think again, when he's scoring, they're clearly finding ways to beat Delbs and Dobson, who aren't bad.
No, of course not. He's on an all-time heater. Like, you look at his numbers in the playoffs to the regular season, it's crazy what the offensive output that he has and has done down the stretch. Like, he was great down the stretch of the regular season. Don't get me wrong, but he's elevated his game to a completely another level. So I think that's an obvious pick. I think Warren Hill obviously has to be in the conversation. Very similar reasons for a guy like Nick Rose. But you mentioned Clark Peterson because I heard Teddy talk about how Jason Knox could be on pace if this thing goes a full 3, that he could set the single playoff record for most goals scored. Well, Clark Peterson is actually just about on track to tie Dane Smith's all-time single point record in an individual playoff. So with that being said, Peterson needs to be in the conversation as well, because sure, he's not putting up 3-4 goals a game like Jason Knox is, but he's probably the facilitator and putting up big numbers under the assist marks.
Counterpoint for this logo, though, against everything I just said, Brad Cree and Latrell Harris might be pissed off that I'm saying this, though.
Well, fair enough. Fair enough. Beyond fair.
But the path forward is clear, though, for me, for Halifax.
For sure. Listen, don't get me wrong. If Toronto wins and we're talking about Brad Cree being the playoff MVP, that'd be incredible. But we know defenders don't get the love they deserve and they should get. So they would have to, like, that's why I said like a Sam English potentially could, because he's got the points to go with it in transition as well. My guess, though, is like, if I'm handicapping it here based on Toronto also being the favorite, you're probably looking at Nick Rose as 1. It's probably Warren Hill 2. And then after that, maybe it's a Mark Matthews or a CJ Kurse followed by a Knox. So off that, you would probably be getting pretty good value for him to be that MVP.
And plus, the polar bears are still probably Jason Knox doubters like you are, certainly.
I never said I'm a doubter. Let's be
Hey, Panther stays forever in my heart, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Texas forever, baby. I think
next?
If he's, to be honest, if Jason Knox scores less than 2 goals here tonight, I think Halifax has a hard time winning, unless this is like a 6-5 game, something low score. He's got to get at least 2.
That's why I keep saying this. It wasn't that I thought like they could win those games. I feel like if he was scoring, they were clearly breaking the defense open.
Yep. 100%.
And they've only, I feel like Del Bianco and Dobson had better seasons than Nick Rose. So that's scary for Toronto's up against it. Big time.
I think Teddy brought up a great point, and I guess it's, this is just two partners on the same page, and I guess this is why you have all those pre-production meetings. But the rebound control for Nick Rose, that's one of his strong suits. He has to be able to gobble up those rebounds, because look at traditionally with Brett Dobson and Christian Del Bianco, 2 other guys that traditionally really control the ball well, make the first save, and then it's up and out in transition. They were really fighting it, and it's not that they weren't. It was just Halifax was overwhelming them with those shots, with those repossessions. So, for me, I think that's going to be a big time storyline that we're going to have to watch.
2 more quick things for you before we let you take a nap. captain may have backed in. Do you believe the captain is a good NLL better? Because I mean that's consensus, right? For what we all things considered. Okay.
How couldn't it be?
Right.
Look at the record. Look at the bet slips. The guy cashes tickets
Oof.
better than, I don't know if there's a bet, a hotter better in National Lacrosse League betting than captain.
Or if Tim Dillon actually put money on games, but regardless.
Fair point.
Captain, I just told the fans this as you were away, that he says he does believe Toronto wins and they're going to sweep. But this is because that's plus 200, right? However, he says if Halifax wins tonight, and I see his point, they're sweeping, and that's plus 345. If I'm a person out there in Canada, I'm throwing shekels on both those things. Because you get the crazy value with Halifax.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you hedge your bet with Toronto and two, perhaps.
But it makes sense.
Yeah, or I mean, if you want to be a little cowardly, and you're not feeling as confident as captain is, you could then just take the under 2.5 games, which I believe is plus money at Clubet right now.
Oh, is it? I
thought it was.
I know the over was plus 108.
Oh, I guess not. Maybe I got those mixed up.
How dare you? Yeah, I made sure loaded minus 132. Wolf. It's still good. It's not bad value because you're not just throwing $5 on that. Most people are throwing probably whatever on that. Cool.
Exactly. I again, I know captain's record speaks for itself. So
right.
For me personally, I don't see a sweep here. I really, really don't. Halifax would have to completely crumble and play like they did at the start of the year, but that hasn't happened. They've been playing playoff lacrosse for a really long time. And as good as Halifax has been playing, Toronto hasn't lost back-to-back games all year long. We're going to say that now those two straight losses happens in the most important time of the year.
There are some home field advantages in the NLL that are hard to overcome. People say OKC is not maybe the best or even the biggest barn, but they say that's just a loud NBA arena.
Mm-hmm.
When the nest is flying and buzzing, I mean, my God.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's going to be rocking.
We're going to see a 10-5, 9-5 by that attendance again, and I mean, I just want to let you, as you go here, give kudos to that because I know you're going to be excited to see that. It's going to be kind of emotional, probably too. Just saying.
Listen, it's so awesome to see that building. How quickly, Mackie Jenner put out, it was less than an hour. The entire Lord Bowl was sold out. Last time I checked, there was I think it was about 50 seats in the entire building left. This has been building for a really long time. You got to give a huge shout out to Halifax's front office staff, John Catalano and Mackie Jenner, Charlie Ragusa. They have done a great job building this thing.
Didn't Catalano win the Executive of the Year a couple of years ago because of this?
I believe he's two-time champ, two-time winner. So.
Not bad.
And this team desperately wanted to see a home playoff game, and they got it. They got two of them last year, but it was a disappointing finish. And in probably the most disappointing regular season this group has had since moving to the East Coast, out of nowhere, now you're talking about a team going to the finals. And I've given a lot of flowers to the team, the front office staff. I got to give flowers to the franchise because even when they were on that losing skid and not finding ways to win, losing those 1-goal games, there's no lack of belief from that group. It was still almost sellout, loud barn, and you could read the comments positive vibes only. We'll get through this, guys. All you got to do is get in, and who knows what happens. Peter Gray, a guy that threw out a tweet during OTCB and was I feel like this Halifax team, if they can just get in, they can be a championship contending team. And look what's happened. So, I'm really happy for the organization. So happy for the fan base. So well deserved. And I hope, and it looks like it should be a good crowd here in Hamilton as well. I think if you're a Rock fan, if you're just a lacrosse fan, you got to find a freaking way to drive down to this building and come to this game.
Yeah. Sorry, man. I've been free advertising all year, man. Where is your good Lord? Hey, you know what's funny? Speaking of the shirt, this guy's awesome, by the way. He was the one with the sign. Do you know him, by the way? Because that's just awesome. Like he's
I don't.
awesome.
I saw that. That's amazing. So shout out,
Cool.
shout out to you guys for getting some love on the East Coast, my man. I feel like you guys have a lot of good fans in Halifax watching this program.
We have the ones that they're definitely are the most visible and comment the most for sure.
For sure. You got him. You got
MJG.
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, the non-playing Michael Grace.
Had the Thunderbirds, Michael Grace.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. Thank you, Pat, again for coming on. Let's almost pray that Monday we still have like more drama to talk about here, or there could be a champion.
Yeah,
and Jason Knox finals MVP, etc.
I think any way you slice it, Mike, I think come Monday morning, we're talking about what an unbelievable finals it has been or, was.
Right.
I don't think this is going to be a flop. I don't think this is going to be a stinker. I feel like we're getting 3 games. And even if it is a sweep, I think it's going to be a sweep where both teams fight to the very end and they're 2 close fought games.
I am gonna do something here real quick because I've got which player shirts are available because I'm definitely going to win, even if Halifax does not win. I have picked them. I'm finally on the bandwagon for them to win. The player shirt I'm getting, Randy Stotts. Oh, I'm going Clark Peterson. Absolutely. I don't care if they lose. I'm getting a CP24 shirt. So there.
Love it. That's awesome, Mike.
Get rest. Teddy, Ashley, and you will have great calls this weekend. We'll see you Monday, no matter what happens, sir. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Mike. Enjoy the finals, and we'll talk on Monday, buddy.
Woo! Safe travels, everybody. I'm excited. It has come that time, folks. So again, there is a scenario where Monday's show, we got 2 weeks to fill of just championship parade stuff. I am hoping there was a game 3, though. So in case you haven't heard, 2 Fridays from today is our season 4 finale. 4 seasons strong, baby. But thankfully, we still have 2 weeks, like I said, to get going on that. So, with that being said, thanks for the commenters, the live viewers, of course, the replay viewers. It is about 2:08 here in Georgia, 3:08 in Halifax, for those counting. Thank you so much for tuning in to North American Talk Radio. Reminder to have a great weekend. Enjoy watching the games. Tweet about them if you want to chirp us at Daily Dive LAX. Twitter's the best way to chirp. Instagram's just to watch the reels and all the good stuff. But thanks so much for tuning in. So have fun. Stay safe. Monday we'll see where we're at. But until that time, we'll see you then. 1 o'clock Eastern. North American Talk Radio's YouTube channel. Until that time, I am your host, Michael Karvelis, saying goodbye. This has been Daily Dive.